Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Magical Monday Musing for the week of 4/13/2015. So welcome back to our next episode, our next issue of our time together on Monday mornings. And I hope that you all had a productive week last week with our cards and with Archer and with Chariot, and we're able to really use the power and the momentum and the force that they allowed you in focusing and harnessing on what it is that you're wanting to create this spring and in the months ahead, using that energy to kind of catapult or help you to really work with what it is that is near and dear to you, maybe something you've been working on for a while or things that you're just initiating this spring with the new energies around us. So as you know, an adjunct to this Monday morning musing that we do on video, I've started a kind of personal reflection because oftentimes I find so much happens that I want to share with you during the week just to see how you're doing with the card. And I also just shared a few thoughts of what's happened with me. And it's the blog that is entitled Field Notes from the Path. And so you might want to look for that and use that as another kind of touchstone for the week to tune in. It also comes out later in the week, usually towards the end of the week or the weekend, so you can begin to look for that. And all you need to do is to subscribe to circlemagica.com. You can go to the website circlemagica.com/subscribe and enroll there, so that way you can keep up on that blog and just continue with kind of the spontaneous and organic developments as we all work together collectively as a community. I find more and more things just organically are coming forward. So I wanted to just give you all a heads up on that. And of course, you can also find anything that I post on my Facebook page too, which is Deb D'Onofrio. So this week we are working with a new suit, although we're still working with pointy things. We're working with arrows again this week, but not as the major arcana card. We're working with one of the suit cards. So we're working with arrows or swords in the Rider-Waite deck. So we'll go ahead and do our meditation to set our sacred ground in space. And then we'll plunge into the cards, and I'll tell you about who we're working with this week, what we are looking with and tuning into, and then do some messaging for you as well. Okay, so at this time, we'll switch gears into our meditation. And I invite you to bring yourself into a place of comfort, whether that's reclining or sitting up, whatever feels comfortable to you this morning. Inviting you to take 3 deep breaths in and out at your own pace. And with each breath, allowing yourself to move more deeply into your body, arriving in the here and now. Just giving yourself an opportunity to settle in, starting out a new week with some new energies, some new touchstones and direction. So allow yourself to give all aspects of your being a pat on the shoulder for creating this sacred time to delve into your spiritual path. With each breath, allowing yourself to relax a little deeper into the moment and into the opportunity to spend some time with yourself. Settling in, relaxing, letting go, cueing yourself to receive in whatever ways are appropriate for you. So we invite in now the grounded energy of Mother Earth, working with her to ground whatever is needed this week for you. so that it's accessible to you and available. Calling in the 4 directions and elements, those being north and earth, east and air, south and fire, and west and water. Inviting in ancestors and loved ones in spirit and friends in spirit who can contribute in a positive way. Calling on your own spirit allies and teachers from the lower, middle, and upper worlds. The angelic realms, beings of light, star and sky beings. Calling in our own higher and deeper wisdom so that we have a full collective today of energies and influences to work with us in community, sharing and allowing us to understand, grow, and develop. And of course, calling in the archetypes and energies, personalities, and qualities of the cards that we'll use today from the Wildwood Tarot and the Rider-Waite deck. So allowing yourself to set whatever intentions for this week that you have. In whatever ways that you would like to work with your own spiritual journey. And asking that we would be uplifted and enfolded with the light, knowing that that which is for the personal and collective highest good will be served today. And so mote it be. So just inviting you to come back to this moment of time and space, open your eyes, and we'll begin to delve into these cards and see what learning experiences and what guidance and friendship and wisdom they can bring to us. So this week we're going to be working with Queen again. We often seem to pick the Queens and the cards that really have tremendous amounts of opportunity for us. So we're going to be working with the Queen of Arrows. Swan is the animal that we're working with this week from the Wildwood Tarot. And then from the Rider-Waite deck, that equivalent is the Queen of Swords. So what we know about the arrows and the swords is we're working with intellect, the thinking self, thoughts, logic, reason, plans, strategies, learning from experiences through the energy of the sword, that which can cut through confusion and emotion and things that might cloud or fog or confuse. And we're dealing with the Queen energy, which is the divine feminine. She, as you know, works from the base of wisdom and knowledge, nurturing. She's also someone that wants to help others, bestow the nurturing presence of the Queen for her peoples and others around her. So she is thinking about other people as well as coming from that divine feminine perspective. So when we're dealing with these cards, as you know, it can be that we might be embodying the swan this week or the queen, or the element of how we can use the swords or the arrows in our lives. Or it could be that we're going to encounter someone that we might view as the queen or the swan in our lives. So it can also be about not just a person, it can be about, say a process or a situation, a happening, an event that is coming towards us, maybe this week or even a little later on, or it could be something that we're already aware of that this card can help us to shape and to make the most of. That's part of the benefit of working with the cards, is they can highlight things that maybe are already underway in our lives, but that we can shift or work with, tweak in some way to add to our benefit, or to, in some cases, we can work around something that might be an obstacle, or to avoid completely something that we might perceive that's coming because of this card, and be able to make a different, more informed choice. And so that's another way that the cards can help us each week. So, when you subscribe to the Circle Magica community and the Magical Monday Musings, and when you work with us and make that commitment to show up for yourself, you really involve yourself in a whole host of benefits that I love to remind you of, just because you're giving yourself an opportunity to experience some dedicated spiritual practice, and what comes with that, which is that awareness. And the benefits of being an aware person in the world are more than we could ever list. But the thing is you get a deeper connection to you. And when you're more connected to yourself, you're more connected to everything and everybody. And so that can only work to the mutual benefit of all. So I'm going to switch over into intuitive mode, because I want to talk a little bit about swan. So this is a rich archetype to work with. I don't know about you, but when I first see swan, sometimes I think about the fairy tales, or I think about like the ugly duckling becoming the beautiful swan. So there's different ways to perceive, and again, a multi-layered perspective between the two cards. So this is again one of the cards where they have a few similarities, but mostly in the Wildwood Tarot, with working with the Queen of Arrows and Swan. The authors present a lot around loss, because in the fairy tales or folklore, the swan is often associated with loss and sorrow. So think about that. If you're one of those people, and I do feel there are some people in our community that are going to be experiencing either loss or regret, a sense of still that clinging or holding on to a sense of sorrow, or what do I want to say, like woe almost. Some of you some woe, and that the swan can be symbolic of that. And so you think about something like the swan dive. Maybe there's so many different phrases and connotations we have for swan. Not only the swan being really regal and beautiful and refined, but the swan having to do with that sense of loss. So I feel like this week some of us are dealing with loss. Maybe things didn't turn out the way that we wanted, whether it was sometimes we feel a sense of loss or disappointment because we weren't able to achieve something in our own personal growth that we wanted, or we've been really working hard in our process, but something's still just kind of escaping us. We haven't quite attained it yet, and that we can feel a sense of loss, or like hopelessness, or am I going to get there, or sorrow, or the loss of a dream, or it could have to do with relationship. It could be some of us, I feel like it's going to be dealing with just things that are related to ourselves, not so much about an external thing, but maybe where we feel like we've let ourselves down, or there's something that just, it feels like it's lost in the sense of this just isn't going to happen for me, and dealing with that. So the swan, when you think about the loss, the swan is also it's a transformational figure. And so you know that you have that power working for you too. The other thing, going over to the Rider-Waite deck and the Queen of Swords, is that you're dealing with someone who can lend you the ability to cut through the emotion and get kind of to the bottom line, get you to that point where you can move on too, because she gives you the benefit of working from that place of logic and reason. She's been there, she's done that, and she knows how to help you to get there and do it too. So she is one who is pragmatic. She is kind of a mover and a shaker, and she can help you to move through the sorrow or the loss or the place where you're feeling not so great. If you find this week that something comes up that surprises you, that invokes that feeling of loss or disappointment, you can literally call on her to help you to get like the whole picture. She's going to want to give you the whole picture of, okay, yes, there's these emotions, these feelings of, disappointment or loss or sorrow, but she also, with her logic and reason and pragmatic attitude, can help you to move beyond that and see if there are gifts in that for you, or to see a bigger picture with paint a broader canvas for you. So those are some of the benefits that this queen can bring to us this week. She can also help to bust rigid thinking, which I feel is, some of you guys are dealing with that this week in terms of how you think something should be, or even how you should be, or how a scenario needs to play out, like it needs to play out in this way, because that's what I see being the best. So this can be a week of reevaluation when it comes to seeing yourself and how you are thinking things need to lay out. This may be a week where you've got to sort of look at things again and reevaluate, is this really the right approach? Or do I need to kind of back away and reassess how I am thinking of proceeding with this? And, again, because we're dealing with the thinking, the logic, the reason, bring more of that in. This is not the week of, unless you're in the shadow energy of, wallowing in pity or the sorrow, or that this is not the week where we fall apart in that per se, unless that is how it goes for us. But we have the queen who, with the swords and with the arrows, can help us to create some momentum and some movement through those states of emotion, because we're dealing with the thinking suit. So let's see what else wants to come through. For some of us, I feel like we're going to be dealing with a sense of, almost like a sense of stalling, or, things might have been starting to move along and we were kind of getting excited about where this could be going for us. And now it's like, we've hit a snag. So what I want to say to those of you who have that experience this week is to take heart and know that you may be hitting this snag so that you can work with the Queen of Swords and Arrows to get more clarity, to just make sure, really cross your T's and dot your I's with what you're dealing with. It could be a time to reevaluate or reassess, or get that extra clarity through working with the thinking suit and working with logic and reason about how you're proceeding, what you're proceeding with. Because I feel like there are some of you within the community that are going to have kind of this sense of maybe running into a hiccup, or, like I say, a snag, and wanting to deal with that in the most empowered way. Let's see, what else? So, dealing with the queen, it could be that you're going to be the one that helps someone to be rational and focused and not lost in the emotions, because Tabby's clawing me right now. So not getting lost in that, helping someone else to move through, feeling in the abyss of emotion. So it could be that you're going to be mentoring or helping someone through that. And to really come from that intellectual place and bestowing upon someone, the right words at the right time, or help, like you may find someone say to you, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear right now, because I was really lost in, fill in the blank. So know that some of you are going to be in the role of mentor this week, and some of you are going to be in the role of receiving the queenship. The benefits of what the queen can offer you, like working with your inner queen. So it might not be about you literally like putting on the crown and helping someone else to move through things or to see things in a different way, to cut through the crap, that type of thing. But it could be that it is really your inner queen that's going to help you to do these things for yourself. So it's very much a combination week. And I would encourage you to meditate with Swan to see what else she wants to bring you personally. Because I feel like there's a lot of rich opportunities for you guys this week working with Swan, because she's such a powerful, majestic, regal, and one who's kind of reminds me of the lotus flower, that grows in the muck, but then there's this beautiful blossom that comes up through the murky waters. Swan sometimes feels like that, when you think about the ugly duckling who becomes this beautiful swan. The transformative properties that we have available to us this week are great. So coming from the archer, working with archer and all that intense focus energy, and then moving in following that up with Swan, the energies are different, but you can see how they can complement each other. So know that too, like the way that we choose the cards, there is something of a continuum with them too. Although from week to week, some of them seem really very different. There is a continuum of soul development that goes on with what we choose. So you might want to contemplate that, how last week was and how you're weaving those energies into this week, working with the Wildwood Tarot's Queen of Arrows and Swan, and then the Rider-Waite Tarot, the Queen of Swords. So see what you can do with that. See how you can really harness not only working with the inner queen, but if it is your role to be working that energy externally, how can you really embody that and be that? So I hope that you will have some great food of thought with the queens this week, and that you'll make some great inroads into your own personal processes, and also that you can make a difference in the lives of others, be that pebble in the pond, and use your musings this week to benefit your whole personal community. And as we work together, we do that also for our Circle Magica community and each other. So I'm going to leave you with those thoughts for this week, and until we meet again next week, I wish you a wonderful and magical and powerful week. And so mote it be.